I've been hearing a lot lately about men don't talk, but in my experience, men do talk, just people aren't listening. So it's going to be me and a group of blokes discussing our struggles and victories through life. Warning, there may be some bad language, so apologies to all the moms, especially my own. Let's get going.
Sure.
I've been here. It's the Black Country Blokes, doing the fight about everything it is men's mental health, disability, and life in general. Here with me, a very tired Kevin Dillon. I'm a partner in crime, as always, Lee Cadman. And before we get into everything else, we're all going to start with our gratitude list. Boxing season has now started, which I'm grateful for and already tired of. We raced all weekend with two boxers. We had one boxer fight on Thursday, Sam George, who won. Then we had Danny, who fought in the Senior Development Championships. He had to fight on Saturday and Sunday, won on both days. And we go again this Friday. If we win on Friday, then it's in the Midlands Finals on Sunday. We also had another lad, Alfie Scott, who lost. Boxed well, didn't box the right fight, but it's a learning curve. So I'm very grateful for the team I've got around me. I'm grateful for the boxers. And I'm going to be grateful to have eventually a weekend off. What are you grateful for, bruv?
A man called James Lewis, who is Calla's neurology nurse. Calla had a bit of a bad start to the week last week. She was in for an appointment and had a VNS turned down. Didn't go well at all. So we phoned up on the Thursday and he got us in literally straight away. Went straight up there and he turned it back up. And yes, I'm just glad for him to fit us in and do that for us.
Do you want to explain what a VNS is?
It's a vagus nerve stimulator, and I suppose the easiest way to explain it, it's a pacemaker, or like a pacemaker, but it's attached to your vagus nerve. So it gives it a slight electric shock every minute, which sends a signal to the brain and hopefully stops seizures. Well, it does, because obviously we turned it down, it didn't work. So yeah, in short, that's what it does. It shocks the vagus nerve and stops seizures potentially.
And she's feeling better, is she?
She's doing better, yeah, definitely.
Good. I was awful grateful. One of my coaches, Josh Colton, and one of my best friends, welcomed me up here. He had his surprise birthday party, and it was great. The guys from the club being there, and it's lovely because we see each other all the time at boxing shows and in the gym, but actually breaking bread with people and having a bevy and having far too many bevies. But it's nice, isn't it, Lee? I know that you don't drink anymore, but like it's quite a while ago now. We went out for that meal after we got that award, and then we went out for a meal on your birthday. And if anyone drinking, it was nice having.
Yeah. I found that the since I've been drinking, to be honest, I don't need a drink to have a good time around friends. But I just don't do that enough, though. At the same time, I don't spend enough time just having a meal with friends either.
That's what we've really come in today. I mean, obviously, boxing's my whole life, really, apart from my wife and my daughter. And it was lovely at the championships, seeing friends I've known for decades, and shout out to like Darlaston Boxing Club and the Priory Boxing Club. In fact, my good friend Pete Upton, who's from the Priory, was wearing a Black Country Blokes top. Then Kev Blower from the Junction, and Gav from Old Hill, and Fearless, and Pound for Pound, and who else? And the Two Impacts, and Queensbury, and One Bomb. There's so many clubs out there, and it's great. You just stood there having a chat. Wellington, they were there. Wednesbury were there. Stoke Staffs, Tamworth, all these great clubs, and just stand there talking. And because, I'm the Black Country bloke with mental health, and you have these guys you've known for decades, these characters, and they come over having a chat about how they're feeling, and now they're having a bit of a wobble and how their mental health's been dipping. But it's nice to be there to have a chat. Like what was from the Priory does, he has a little thing on the Priory kit about autism to start that conversation. And I think it's brilliant what us men's men are doing, opening the door so other men can walk through the door and talk about it. And it is getting there. bit by bit. I mean, you haven't been to a show for quite a while, have you, Lee? You and me talking about it.
Yeah, I tend to go to the home shows, but yeah, it's been a long time since I've been to an away show. But you're right. You almost don't. We don't need it on the t-shirts, do we? Now it's kind of well known within the boxing community what you do with the Black Country Blokes. And again, like what's having autism on there, and it does make a difference because it means people will come and speak to you about their problems because they know you're open anyway and honest.
And it's with the shows, it's you talk, and what we're having soon is Dr. Lloyd coming back on. He's had to postpone his date, but me and Lee, when we were talking on a radio show on Black Country Extra the other day, we're 40 now, we're 41 very soon. And my testosterone over the last 5, possibly 10 years, but definitely over the last 5 years, my testosterone has dipped.
Well, it feels like it has. You're not at the test, have you yet?
Well, because I've got hemochromatosis, that can affect your testosterone. So I am going to go for a test. I did get tested a couple of years ago, and I was low, but not low enough to have testosterone injections.
I think what actually started is we're just talking in general. We've kind of probably since 35, really.
Since it started, really.
Yeah, and you just feel like, whereas you'd usually bounce back and you'd have more energy, and when you are training, you lift more heavier weights. And obviously, when you're not doing that stuff, you're not going to be able to lift the same. But there's certain things that you still benchmark against, don't you? And you know roughly what you should be lifting or what you should be doing or how you should be feeling. And I think for the last year, your recovery, the tire going round the middle of your stomach now, and all those things. And I say, for about 5 years, it's kind of been happening. But the last couple of years, and especially last year, I've been looking into it more, and I found out that 1 in 4 men have low testosterone, and the symptoms are basically what we just described.
Foggy headed.
Yeah.
Lack of sex. Wanting sex even, or just
sex drive.
Not getting your words out, not being able to be strong. And people get the wrong idea about it. Say if the average 40-year-old is, and hopefully a doctor will come and explain this to us, say the average 40-year-old is 16. I'm not after being 30. I'm after being 16, 14, around that mark on a healthy level. And what's the ladies' thing when they start going for the change?
That's HRT. They're both of them are pretty much the same thing. You're just replacing a hormone. It just happens to be that you use testosterone as a steroid, and they use different
estrogen.
Yeah.
But and I heard this the other day, and I hope I'm not to piss off our female listeners,
but you're going to anyway.
But I'm going to say it because it's right. With 75% of suicide being men, a man dies of suicide every 90 minutes in the UK. And I honestly do believe this, and I apologise if I offend anyone. If women were killing themselves at an outstanding rate, something would have to be done. Whereas men have those throwaway comments of, we don't talk enough, be more open, which is true. We're aware of that. But more has got to be done. And if something can be done biologically, to stop us from feeling that low.
It does make you wonder whether there's a correlation, or whether we can find out if there's a correlation between, because as you've said before, it can create brain fog and forgetfulness. And if you're in a dump and all that stuff is happening on top and you can't think or see clearly, it's only making you worse. It's not making you better.
I do believe that. And that's what I'd love. This is what I can't wait for Dr. Lloyd and any other doctor who'd like to come on, or anyone who's got research into this to come on, because it is the biggest killer of men under 45. And when do we start losing our testosterone? Around that 10-year mark of 35 to 45. Then it gets worse. And you're thinking, could this be one of the things?
Yeah.
There's making men lose the mojo. They can't talk about it because who wants to start talking about losing erections or not being attracted to your wife or not having this? And then you get yourself into a rut because if I'm not this, then what am I? And then I used to enjoy going to the gym, but buggers me up worse than a hangover now. And I can't lift as much. And I'm getting fat and I'm doing this. And what we were talking about the other day, how much estrogen is in our tap supply, and how soy milk gives you estrogen. So you're thinking, is this deliberate? Is it accidental? Is it coincidence? But I'd like someone who's a lot more clever than me. I know there's a lot of people out there who fit that description, but could walk me through this, because it's something I've been thinking about for a while. And could this be one of the keys to the puzzle why men are taking their lives at such a massive rate?
I mean, it certainly wouldn't help. There's no doubt about that. If you are feeling low from low testosterone, you're feeling low in general, it's certainly not going to help, is it?
And it's not even things out there that I've seen or I'm aware of that it's how to boost our testosterone naturally.
There is articles out there, but it's one of them where, is it myth? Is it true? Is it, when I know things like red meat can potentially, I don't know the science behind this, but red meat can potentially build up testosterone, but then you're told not to eat red meat. So you're going, well, which one is it?
And I think there's also, because of steroid abuse, because there's no regulation, and I don't believe steroids have any place in sport. Before anyone says, I don't criticise anyone for doing, your gym bunnies and all that, but it's never been my thing, and I don't agree with it.
If you're a bodybuilder, you're not affecting anyone but yourself, really, by doing it. Or not like in boxing, you
combat sport.
Yeah.
However, what my stance on all drugs is, makes it legal in the recreational sense, so people can talk. So get the help you need. So if people were going to do steroids, in my opinion, then they could have to go to a pharmacist or somewhere, and they'd tell them the right amount of dose, look after them, so they have a thing where they've gone up steady, they've come down steady, because steroid abuse, like any abuse, buggers up your body in later life.
Yeah.
But then if someone like myself and like Lee, who's never done steroids, could go, look, you're supposed to be at 16, but you're actually at 8. Let's help you get up to a healthy amount.
Yeah.
So once again, you're not lifting an elephant over your head, but you're just feeling like a robust man of your age.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's certainly. I'm looking forward to that conversation with Dr. Lloyd, to be honest. Because it might blow out the water what we've just said,
Exactly.
To be quite honest. But at least because again, it's stuff that I read on the net, and what's the truth in it? You never really know, But it's certainly interesting if the facts are right in it. I'd be really interested if there's any studies out there with the correlation to suicide or bad mental health, and not having enough testosterone.
That's something I would like to explore with other people, to see this, because once again, I've said it a million times and I'll say it again, this is a pandemic. We can stop this male suicide, but we need the help, the facts and the figures to get through it, and not just go in, this is right, that's wrong. Drugs are the answer, or talking therapy is the answer, or this is. There's many different answers because we're all different. So let's take people on an individual basis and go, you need talking therapy. You are too low on testosterone. You need to get off your lazy backside and do something. You need to get back into work. You need a bloody cuddle.
But that's the downside of it as well, isn't it? Because if you are low on testosterone, you don't want to go to the gym. You've not got the same kind of urge to do it. You're feeling tired. You're feeling that. So it's all a knock-on effect, and it all makes it worse.
It's like me when I had I've got fibromyalgia. Well, they think that's what it is. That's what words get thrown around. But I remember in one of the lockdowns, I was in a very dark place. All this, and I phoned up a GP, and I said, "Oh, look, I'm in a bad place. I'm in loads of pain." And she said, "We'll do press-ups." And I went, "But I'm telling you, I'm a fit bloke, run a boxing club." "Oh, yeah, well, you should know then, do some sparring." And I thought,
getting punched in the head, don't sound like the cure to me.
And I was saying, but you're just shouting out words. But if I was someone from the opposite sex, would you be shouting at these things? You'd be calling it body shaming and da-da-da-da-da. And you're going, people need compassion, but people need sense. And, I know, say in the corner when I'm taking someone in, some people need a bollocking to get them up and at them. Some people need a kiss and cuddle. You need to know who you're talking to. And unfortunately, GPs, like everyone, haven't got that time to get to know the patients. And I believe it was Dr. Lloyd when he come on saying back in the day, when you had your GP. We had the doctor here the other week doing the medicals for the boxing, and I go, "Who's your GP?" And all the kids were going, "What's a GP?" Because when you phone the doctors, you don't ask for Dr. Parnell.
No, you get who you're given, don't you?
You get who you're given. Back in the day, it was well, you can see Dr. Parnell at the end of the week, or at the end of the week, or you can see whoever today.
Yeah, we had a similar situation. We've started a study with Calla called the Horizon Study, and it's based in Scotland. Basically, one of the professors, doctors up there, who's all singing, all dancing when it comes to Dravet syndrome. And we had to fill a load of paperwork in, as you do, to start these studies. And one of the questions on there was, "Who's Calla's GP?" And I looked at Nikki and went, "Who's Calla's GP?" Now she's in that GP quite regular. So she said, "Well, she hasn't actually got one, but this is the person they usually send letters to," kind of thing. So it is. You don't know who it is now, do you? I can tell you mine.
But your old GP knew if Dad was a drinker, or if Granddad had prostate cancer, or if Mom was depressed. So you had that kind of thing. It's like, I was a doctor who was there when your mom was pregnant, so I know your family. Your mom had a complicated birth. She had diabetes. Your dad was, you know your family. But now if you get in there, you've got 7 minutes to go. I've got a tummy ache, a headache, pains in my chest. Mention one. Because sometimes I go, well, I've had the runs. I've got pain in my... Hang on. It's two things. You've got to make another appointment. You go, well, I'm here now because I don't know. They might all be linked, or I don't know which one's the important one to say.
Yeah.
And sometimes the important one's the embarrassing one you don't want to mention.
Yeah. It is. It does. It does need to go back to that way. You just need more GPs, I suppose, and that's no easy task. But that's the solution, isn't it?
Getting people to know each other, and that old saying, what's it called, prevention instead of cure.
Yeah.
But once again, if every man, you had my health check at 40, and it was cholesterol, diabetes, weight, height, that was it. But once again, send me for a blood test. So what am I lacking?
Shouldn't after speaking to Dr. Lloyd, shouldn't you have done prostate as well?
No.
Because at 40, I'm pretty sure he said is at 40, if it's in the family, should be checked.
I mentioned it, and she, I can't blame her.
Well, you didn't have to do it that way, Kev. You must assess with that way you are.
But I was talking, and it's as you say, if your family's had it, you're a lot higher rate. But I believe they start checking at 50.
Is it 50? You might have been right.
But it's but once again, how about we start having a little a blood test and saying, well, yes, your cholesterol's great.
Well, you'd think they're taking your blood anyway. Now I don't know whether it's a different vial, but you're there, kind of.
Just say, well, while we're here, check my testosterone.
Yeah. You'd think they would. You'd think that'd be part of it, wouldn't you? As that 40-year-old checkup, but it's not.
I'm intrigued to find out more about it.
Yeah, I'm me.
And once again, if you are listening to this, or you know someone who's listening to this, and you have any answers, please drop us a message or come on and talk about it yourselves.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Interesting to learn more.
I'd say we're supposed to have a guest on today, but unfortunately, things have happened. We've got one on next week, but I'll leave it to see if we get him on before I advertise it. That's going to leave us today, guys. We're both really low on testosterone, shattered. So we're going to go home, have some food, have a rest. Got any quotes, old pal?
No. You're the quote man. Come on.
Okay.
Get some testosterone, don't you?
Yeah.
Buy steroids.
Sometimes you're going to feel low. You just got to get yourself back up and go. So until we see each other next time, guys, I want you all to take care of yourselves and each other. Ta-ra a bit.
Listen.
And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time, ta-ra a bit.
Listen.